So last time you were hired with no money changing hands to investigate a strange change in the fortunes and attitudes of the merchant family Quintus Decius Latinius, a rich, wealthy family in the area of Corinth, with several generations of merchants who bring in knickknacks from the Egypt and North Africa area and then sell them on to the rich of the empire, all over the empire. And they've done very well thus far. A week ago, Quintus himself, who had 2 on-staff tinkers, let them go as he brought on a new tinker that no one has ever heard of. And that tinker being Nectarius Callus. Nectarius came on the scene within a few days, seemed to have the head of the household completely ensorcelled with a clockwork jay. The jay would wake up every morning, sing a song that was nothing but chirps and whistles, and the father was convinced that it was foretelling the future. And he became brainwashed, as the best way that you could possibly describe it. You did a little bit of investigation, figured out that Nectarius had 2 henchmen who are still with him today, Andre and Xerxes, big muscle men. But they're apprentices too. They dabble in the tinking artwork. And you actually spoke with one of the local tinkers that had been laid off from this, and Anikitos. And Anikitos told you that both he and Plutonius were just very suddenly let go from the household, no longer on retainer, get out. The children were appalled at what was going on, pleaded with the father, resulted in this big, huge fight. Father threw them out. All of the old toys and tinkered-like items following, not selling them, not doing anything, just throwing them out. Nectarius was the only one. Now, after that, in this last week, you also found out slaves have not been leaving the household. Normally they would on a daily basis to pick up supplies, not seen. Xerxes and Andre were the only ones that would come down roughly each morning, first light, go into the local town, pick up rudimentary supplies, a little food, like not enough to keep the whole household going, and a whole bunch of raw materials. And then they'd go back. And after a little bit of querying with the children and querying with Anikitos and your own sleuthing, you figured out that Nectarius was building something. He's building a statue, like this 15-foot tall statue, but with actually animatronic parts inside it. So not really a statue, something else. And you decided it would be extremely prudent to reconnoiter the area. Now, a couple of things out of this reconnoitering, and we will say that in inverted commas. First and foremost, Doreena tried to create a little bit of a distraction. So any amount of Conri and Tiberius sort of checking things out to one side would not be noticed. But first things first, no one paid any attention to Doreena. It's like there were no one in the fields, no one tending to the house itself, just no one could be seen, which in and of itself was pretty telling. The second thing is you all heard very distantly coming from Tiberius and Conri, "Charge!" And they started the assault, which is, it is, in all fairness to the Kate tribe that Conri is part of, the way that they reconnoiter things. So you saw the two of them fist bump, pull out blades, head on in, little backsides disappearing into the master bedroom itself. By the time everyone got there, now there were a couple of things. We had Vitineous, Papaus, the centurion, and Fadia, the priestess, go to the front and create a distraction of a sort that resulted in them actually entering the house and with Xerxes, and Xerxes led them in. And this is the first time they saw that Tilius the dog was not really a dog anymore. He had been altered like that style, with crystals coming off him, half his head now being metal, the four legs being metal, and all of his claws being like razor blades, like each one just being its own dagger. This was something else altogether. Now, what they didn't know is also in the back master bedroom, everyone else had now managed to get in. Tiberius and Conri had managed to super stealthily slip in, thus founding the whole myth of what would later become the ninjas. They slipped in. Tiberius grabbed the father, Quintus, and bound him up faster than you can imagine, while simultaneously Conri, while the bird was like looking up and looking his way, knocked his freaking head right off. And everything fell into silence. Now, Vitineous and Fadia were kind of ushered out, largely from Nectarius himself, a semi-tall, very gaunt man who was clearly working on his little contraption in the workshop, ushered them out, and then Vitineous and Fadia went around the back, also came into the master bedroom, which is a collection of 3 rooms. You've got the bedroom itself, you kind of got this living area. Off to one side, you actually have a restroom, its own private little restroom. It's posh here. And there's a door that leads out onto the actual courtyard itself. Through the lattice work and everything, you were able to see what's going on here. And this is where we paused last time. Because now you've got a bound up Quintus. He's been parceled outside, and your 2 henchmen donkeys, which you absolutely adore, Doreena, are keeping a watch on him. You've got a Clockwork J that has been just demolished. It's been, its head's been clean knocked off. It ain't working anymore. And all you can hear now is the steady chink, 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 and occasionally 2 sets of hammers, chink, 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 of Nectarius and his 2 henchmen working on whatever they're working on. And where we left this is, not only are you all now contemplating luring them in one at a time, but you are aware that there's a household of maybe a dozen slaves here that have all also been altered. And of course, Tilius the dog. And you're contemplating now how you are going to stop whatever is going on here. With that said, the credits stop rolling. We're in. What are you guys and girls going to do?
Well, maybe should we discuss a plan maybe of your hearing?
What is the dog's name again?
Tilius.
Tilius.
Dulius.
And you all, I think you all had some garments from the children as well to try and get Tilius to kind of like stand down. After seeing the state of the dog, you're now not sure that will work.
So I was thinking, should we just make it a discussion of plan?
Well, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we think we have any way or of, I want to say, freeing the slaves from control or somehow disrupting his control over all the things, the dog, the slaves, this weird statue that he's making? Any thoughts on that? I know he had that thing in his hands. Do you think we can like try and pull that out somehow?
Well, remember, Nectarius doesn't have that. It's Xerxes and Andre that do.
And the slaves seem to have some like crystals or go some kind of.
Yeah, so the
have we
slaves
seen-
have these crystals stuck, literally embedded into their bone through their skin, over the back of their spines and down their shoulders, sometimes coming down into the forearms a little bit, but then there's just long wires and everything into all of their limbs. From seeing their movements, and I said this last time, so it's not like an insight roll or anything, you know this, they didn't seem to be in control of their own movements. Like, the gardeners were very, almost, I'm going to use the word robotic in how they were moving. The young lady that was cleaning the shower area, she was almost, well, like a clockwork little dancer, and they were crying as all of this was going on. It's like, it was almost like a puppeteer was in control of them.
So last time we learned, at least, or have a guess as to which old god they are serving, but we don't really know much about, like, what in fact they're doing.
No, you don't. No, you found out that it was the
Clockwork Man?
Clockwork Man, thank you. It was a Clockwork Man. And did anyone actually make the Cthulhu mythos on the Clockwork Man? And you found out that it was an aspect of Nyarlathotep, who has
Yes.
hundreds of faces.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nyarlathotep, you will know, originates in a time before Egypt, but from the same part of the world.
Were there any symbols or sigils on the bird that Tom cleaved the head off of?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So yes, actually, if you take a closer look at the bird, while the feathers are adorned with feathers, and every part of its outer shell is just meant to replicate almost perfectly a jay, a Eurasian jay, as closely as possible. On the inside of it, where there's these incredible clockworks and springs and pieces of crystal, all intertwined, you can actually see on its inner housing, there is a symbol of an eye with what looks like tentacles coming off it, sitting above an etching of a pyramid.
Is that the same symbol that was on the
Yes.
hand of?
Yeah.
So I personally think we might be in a little bit over our heads. And while I was hesitant to do so earlier, might be okay to get some back.
Well, Tiberius and Conri were discussing a potential plan.
We came up with something we think is kind of clever.
Go on.
Let's hear it.
Well,
Although you'll like this, given your character too.
yeah. Fadia, you've informed us that you have poison in your possession. Is that correct?
I mean, yes, not only poison, but yes, poison.
Well, we were curious, what if we put the poison down the chimney, up top above the workshop, and made it an aerosol into that room?
It's not really that kind of poison. This is a contact poison, not an inhalation poison.
Well, another thing that, there are certain poisonous herbs that are in the Mediterranean area, perhaps on a farm-like setting that hasn't been tended to for at least a week now. Perhaps a weed of sorts may have grown, and we could pick that and toss that down. I hear there's hemlock.
Are any of you particularly adept at locating herbs of a poisonous nature?
I have the feeling the shepherdess would know what's out in the field.
Well, while you guys are looking to do that, I'm going to pull out my lemon juice and start writing a note on a piece of parchment.
Right.
And then in regular ink, I will just write tonight, and may the heat of the sun guide us in the darkness. And whoever is going out there, if you happen to notice like a small child, pass them this note and have them bring it to Annie Katos.
Small child. What kind of small child?
Oh, you know, I couldn't tell you. I hired quite a number of them to keep an eye on this house.
Well, that's right. Remember,
And
she
also,
had virgins that she.
make sure to tell the children to not come back. It's going to get far too dangerous. And there's 2 cisterces. There we go.
Yeah.
In it for however many of them are here at the moment. I think there's probably 1 or 2. But here's a handful of coins. Make sure to pay them handsomely for their fine work. It's probably more coins than they've seen in like a lifetime. So,
now I will underscore while this is going on, you do absolutely now have a water clock ticking on this. Because you have seized the father, you have destroyed the Clockwork J. And so this is not a situation where you can all collectively leave, go and get help, following morning come back. Without a doubt, something's going to be discovered in that time. You could hear the little water drops ticking down right now. So with that said, Fadia, who's delivering this note? Are you doing it? Someone else doing it?
I figured the children are probably hidden, so somebody is going to need good eyes, and if they're out and about looking for plants, they might spot the children. Second, I will note that in the lemon juice, Fadia has written out more detailed instructions and information based on what we've seen here, and hopefully Andy Katos will figure out the code and put it to some heat so he can see the hidden message. But
okay. So Doreena, do I understand that you're going to go out, you're going to try and find something that might be used as an aerosol like poison?
Yes, and I'll drag the body over and throw him in the barn while I'm at it.
Okay.
He's alive.
Well, yeah, but it's his tied up body, so.
Still a body.
Yeah, he's been virtually mummified at this point. He's been wrapped up so well. He's going nowhere. So what have you got on your character sheet here that would possibly help? Well, you've got natural world. You've actually got spades of natural world. I am going to need a damn good result on a natural world roll, please. And I'm not just talking about you make your 65 or whatever you've currently got your skill at. I need a hard result or better.
I don't know that this is it. 51.
That is not it. You need a half or less. So, I mean, you find some herbs and things around, but there's nothing in the immediate area, which doesn't hugely surprise you. You'd have to be amazingly lucky. There's nothing in the immediate area that you're going to be able to get, treat, and be able to then drop into a fire to create the effect that someone like Conri is looking for. You gather up a few things, but I mean, they're all going to be way too long term.
So
try?
Go ahead.
Can Vitineous give it a try? He's only got a 35, but maybe I might get lucky.
Yeah, Vitineous can get out there and do it. And then we'll pick up on the child aspect of this too.
Okay, I'm going to try it. I'll see what I get in there. 35 is what my number is.
We gotta get well under that.
I know.
Probably 10 or 5.
35 is what I got. No, 53. 53. I missed
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, you two head out through the bedroom window and you start looking. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this is a farm area. They've got olive groves here. They've got, your usual sort of fig trees. But while the area has not been well tended recently, it's been very well tended over generations of family. And the odds of actually finding, let's just call it, whole patches of hemlock just ready for plucking are remote. Now, if you kept on searching, you might find something as you go further and further and further afield, but you are getting a sense of just how difficult this particular task is. Now, while this is going on, though, Doreena, you've got a stunning spot, so I'm not even going to ask you to roll. You're kind of like out and about, and you're kind of looking, and you occasionally you pluck something, and you're kind of examining it, and you go, nope, that's not going to work. And you do see a small girl dressed very simply in a dirty white tunic, kind of like watching you, watching the house, hiding behind a bush, trying not to be seen.
Style.
So I go over to her and pass on the message from Fadia.
You, by the way, she's amazed that you even saw her. She's like, oh, and she's trying to act like a shadow when you come over. Then she looks scared until she realizes that you're actually part of Fadia's like family, and she takes the note very gingerly off you. What do you say to her?
Thank you, and I give her her reward and ask her, is anybody else with her, and pass it along. And I tell her, and don't come back, and tell your friends, do not come back here tonight.
Does she know where to take the note to?
Yeah, I tell her where to take the note.
She nods, she takes a little bag of coins, she takes the note, and she goes running off like a little whippet down the road as fast as her little legs will carry her. All right, while this is going on, Conri, Tiberius, in fact, Dulius, you're not doing anything right now. What are you guys doing in the building itself? Oh, and Fadia, you're there.
Well, Tiberius was just talking about the fact that we're in a wealthy person's home that owns a vineyard of olives, olive trees. Is there potential that they have large barrels of olive oil? We might be able to kind of set up as a trap to, I don't know, light a fire or make it slippery, or something like that.
Well, you know what? That's a really, really, really good question. Are they the types that just sell their olives on to another place to process, or do they do their own processing? Let's do a look roll, Conri.
Oh man! All right.
I feel like I have to add olive oil doesn't actually burn.
Well,
It takes really high
It's
temperature.
slippery though.
It is
Right.
slippery, but it does not burn.
Yeah, but wait for them to actually try it. Go, aha! And they throw a torch onto it, and nothing happens.
I failed. I didn't get it.
Okay, all that means is no. This is a place that doesn't do manufacturing of any type. They've got olives here. If they sell them, they gather them up and they just take them into town. Someone else can deal with that shit. Give me the coin. That's all that means. Can I actually, Fadia, Dulius, Tiberius, Conri, give me an idea roll. It's basically equal to your int. But I need a hard result, which means half or less.
28, which is a hard result for me.
Nice
Well, we
one.
got a 7-3.
I got 32, which is 2 more than half.
But not what's okay. So this I'm going to give this one to Dulius just because it seems to be appropriate in a way. Dulius, one consideration with a level of luck. This is a home of the aristocracy, so to speak, in the mercantile world. Who knows what they've actually got in their own bedrooms here for their own nefarious purposes?
And that was going to be my question was, can we actually take, because right now we're holed up in like the master's bedroom, right?
Yes.
And so my two questions were, what rooms do we actually have sort of unfettered access to? Because are there actually slaves wandering around? I say slaves, like servants that are now enslaved.
In this world,
they're enslaved.
They're slaves. Yeah.
That are actually wandering around the hallways like on patrol, or is it pretty much empty apart from the workshop? And second, can we take stock of what we actually have here? So probably nice sheets, but then what else is there?
Okay, so do you all still have access to the map I sent you last week?
I couldn't find it. So I don't know, if you could send it again, that'd be nice. That's possible.
I can absolutely do that because I'm gonna read off some room numbers in my description here. Let's just make sure that this is the one. So
I think all I just sent it.
I had it open from last time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You just sent it across.
Yeah, we got it.
Excellent. All right. So if you're looking at that while you're taking stock here, you are all in room 5. That is the master bedroom. I'm going to call it towards the north. Okay. Room 4 is like the resting dining area, but the dining area up to the master bedroom, so to speak. Let's call it a living room where Quintus himself would relax. 6 is a private hall. It's just a hallway, which goes to 1, which is the private restroom. So like 1, 6, 4, and 5 are all kind of a little clustered together. Now you'll see that coming off the living room, dining room, number 4, there is another door. That door goes to another bedroom. And that door is going to the bedroom of Galerius, the eldest son. And you'll see that Galerius actually has 3 rooms too, not quite as posh as his father's 4 rooms, but he has 3 rooms. 1 is the actual sort of rest area, living room of Galerius. 2 is his personal bedroom, and 3 is his own private restroom facilities. So if you say unfettered access, I would consider it to be those rooms there. 1, 4, 5, 6. Well, in fact, then in the northeast corner, 1, 2, 3. Those are the areas that you have access to.
And just to make sure, the doorways out into the courtyard are 1, 4, and 3.
Yes. In all instances, the doorways are solid doorways. They're all by default closed, but they all have lattice work at head height with a small little curtain on your side of it. So if you want to pull back the curtain a little bit, look out, you can. Now this is, what time was this when you guys were doing this? This was kind of
afternoonish.
This was afternoonish. So it's late afternoon. So you do see, if you do take a peek out of room 1 or 4 or 3, and 3 right now, you haven't been in that area. So right now it's really 1 and 4 is where you're hanging out. If you look out, the area 8 is the main courtyard. It's an open air courtyard. And this is where you will see that there are a handful of slaves, something in the region of 4 or 5 slaves, tending to the garden in a very clockwork-like manner, for the want of a better description. And occasionally you will see slaves moving across the other side of the courtyard, or to one side, or underneath a covered walkway. But it's largely busy work that they're doing. You never see a huge volume of slaves out. It's always less than 6 or 5.
Well, should we check over that?
Yeah.
Start.
Oh, go ahead. If you guys are
Please go.
Well, I was also thinking potentially maybe closer to the evening hours, hopefully if Xerxes and Andre sleep. It doesn't seem like Nectarius does any of that based on the descriptions we've had, but Andre and Xerxes might.
I don't know if we can count on waiting until evening, because we don't know how often they come to check on the father and the J.
I think they mentioned for sure that they were, like, we heard them talking and they said something about the morning.
Yeah,
Like, we know morning is our hard kind of.
Yeah.
Can we count on that? We wait that long?
You know,
I mean, is it like a guy just sleeping in bed? What if we just like have one of you big guys kind of like, yeah.
But they're gonna find it weird that the J's gone. I guess we could tape its head back on.
Just kind of like glue it together.
Well, and when more, and that I think was mentioned last session, like balancing its head on top of its shoulder, where morning came from as a hard stop for you guys last week was the morning is when the J would start to sing, right? So at the very, very, very least, if no one's hearing the J sing in the morning, something's wrong. But anything could happen between now and then. In fact, Everyone could give me an empire roll just for the normal behavior of what typically would happen in a household such as this.
No.
Well, there's 2 numbers. Which one did I use?
Oh, no, well, remember, the highest number is your base chance. Then there's another number which should be half. That's a hard result. Then you might even have a third result on a number on your character sheet, and that's a critical.
I'm way off.
I mean, we can also assume that these Egyptians are doing something completely different.
That's very possible. That's very possible. Did anyone make it? No one made it. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I don't think any of you have ever lived in a household such as this, so you're not really familiar with what a typical routine would be. Fadia does point out it could be anything, because this place has been taken over by A, an Egyptian cult, and B, like all of the slaves seem to be puppets. So who knows if they're following any level of routine. So maybe you've got tonight. Maybe, though, I think it would be fair to say that master in bed or not, that it would be a reasonable assumption that at least a slave would look in on him, potentially bringing food and sustenance at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
I was thinking if there's anything that we might be able to use, poisons, anything like that, it's going to be in the master's area or his eldest son, because they'd be the 2 most powerful. And they might have things secreted away for their own uses on people that they would like to deal with. Yeah.
There might also be some sort of clockwork contraptions made by previous tinkerers that could be of use in a combat situation, if they haven't all been tossed out.
Yeah.
Can we do some searching?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's
it.
do some search.
And I'm
Okay, so
assuming Doreena is back.
okay, so Vatinius and Doreena, you come back, lift yourselves back into room 5 at the top there. Just so everyone is aware, room 5 at the top, this is the master bedroom. There is a large bed in here with very fine sheets of Egyptian cotton and some silks. Pillows, great deal of wealth has been spent on it. Large amount of furniture from all over the empire, wonderfully crafted. If you pull out drawers, most of it is just changes of clothes, shoes, that type of thing. There are several drawers near the bed with little lock boxes in them of a man's jewelry. This is all right here. There's nothing beyond that seems unusual. One thing that does strike you is that none of the wealth in this room has been appropriated by Nectarius, like at all. You know, the man's bracelets and the rings are all here, unmolested. The room adjoining it, being the living room, dining room, has again some very fine furniture, some chaise lounges set out in a square shape around a very low square table of the finest of mahoganies. And there's evidence here that there has been some recent eating, and this is where Quintus would actually dine himself. 6, the hallway has just got some very nice pictures and some busts on each side of the hallway as you come through, which you would know are the ancestors to Quintus himself. And then room 1 is just a simple rest facility with a sunken bath in here and latrine. So in this area, there's certainly a great deal of opulence, but there's nothing juicy, so to speak, or of intrigue. If you open up the doorway that leads to number 1 in the northeast area, that is similarly sort of similar to number 4, is a small eating rest area, a living room, so to speak. Has a couple of chaise lounges here, not set out in a square shape. They're just opposite each other, and a long, low rectangle table. The first thing that you notice is there is a decline in the wealth and the opulence here, and just how fine the furniture is, and the drapes are just not quite as good. But there's definitely a sense that whoever has been living in these particular quarters has been trying to capture some of the lavishness in the master suite. Number 3 is a simple sort of private rest facility area, again with sunken wash facilities. Number 2, the bedroom of Galerius. This is curious in that it has a simple bed in here, rather disheveled, very fine Egyptian cotton on the bed, but like unkempt completely. Doesn't look like anyone has been in here in literally in the last week, and whatever state the room was left in, it's just been completely left. There's a little bit of furniture in here, clothes strewn all over the floor, and the telltale signs of a guy that really just doesn't give a damn who sees this particular room. Again, some simple man's jewelry, a signet ring set out on the side table, but nothing that really screams at you as being untoward, so to speak.
Can we look for any hidden panels? Because we know his sister had a hidden panel behind her bed where her mother's jewelry was secreted. So can we hunt for secret panels?
Yeah, everyone can actually give me a simple spot roll.
I got a 20.
I got a 60.
This is a spot?
Yeah, on the right side there.
I just can't roll low.
Well,
I'm pretty sure this is a critical. I got a 14 out of 80.
I got a 20 out of 75.
I got a 13 out of 63.
Wow. Okay. Oh, good rolls from some of you. But no, if you're going to roll badly, now's the time to do it, right? You want to keep your good rolls for later on when shit kicks off. So, okay. So for Alberta and particularly Dulius here. So one thing of note, in the master bedroom, the area where clearly most of the wealth of the villa has been focused, underneath the bed, there is a loose tile on the floor. And it's been purposely loose, and there's even signs that a finger has been hooking one side of it. And when you pull that up, there is a small compartment underneath that's actually been lined in wood. This is absolutely intentional. And in there was a small lock box of gold. Within the box itself, there's a copious amount of sesterces and a bag of gems. Without a doubt, there's several thousand sesterces worth of money here. Nothing cult-like, but definitely a hidden stash of family wealth. There are no
Well, if they
hidden
manage to come through
panels.
this intact, I'm sure they'll be happy to get that back.
I'm sure that Galerius would be giddy with excitement. But then, so Doreena, I mean, you're looking for hidden panels. You even check out all of the busts that are lining the corridor nearby. One thing is these bedrooms have pictures, etc., hanging on them, but there's no mosaics on the walls or anything like that. They're painted walls, and you don't find anything here. And you feel like you search really thoroughly. That indicates that there's any kind of additional secret compartment around. One thing that does strike you is that Galerius's quarters out towards the northeast, there's this almost sense of lack of wealth. Then while there's a certain amount of trying to get nice things, nice furniture, nice drapes, nice wall paintings, and they're certainly good by almost any of your standards, there's no idle wealth. There's no wealth sitting on the table. There's no wealth, sitting in the box anywhere. This is, whoever lives here is not a rich man. He's a man trying to be rich, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does Vitineous find anything here? I go a 13 out of 63.
You don't, you're in the same boat that you're actually very satisfied at the end of this, that there is nothing in these quarters that seems untoward at all. Everything seems to be very much on face value. One thing, though, that Vitineous notices, you're actually in room 3 towards the northeast. Room 3 is the private rest facilities of Galerius. So there's a simple latrine here. There's a sunken bath. The bath currently is not full of water. It looks like it's been emptied a long time ago. And as you're kind of sort of searching around here for hidden compartments and things like that, you hear someone walking past in the courtyard and heading towards the west. There's a little bit of a shuffle. Probably a slave. What do you do?
Well, you said they're heading to the west. That's away from where he is.
That is correct.
Potentially up to room number 4.
Well, but he'll look and see, crack the door a little bit, or no, through the little window in the door, and see if he can see more information.
There is indeed a male slave heading away from you. He has a tray in his hand. It looks to be a simple wooden tray with several bowls on it of assorted fruits, figs, dates, a small flagon, you would imagine, with wine, and a simple cup. He is now moving towards room 4, where he stops on the door. You all hear it. Where is everyone located at this time? I imagine you're kind of all a little bit scattered out.
Is there anybody else in our party who's near Vitineous? Is he by himself in this room?
You all tell me. You've all been searching this entire area, because even if you got failed rolls, you were looking. So, we've got people in 1, 5, 4, 2, 3. You're in 3, but you're all kind of scattered out. You tell me where you're at and what you're doing.
I rolled a die. I think I was searching in bath number 1, or the bath to the very west, number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm in 1.
I'm in 4.
Okay, so you're in 1?
Yeah.
So Vitineous, he whispers over to Tiberius.
Yeah.
Hey, then he points, somebody's coming over there. He's trying to convey that to him without being real loud.
And Conri's in 6, just so you know.
Conri is in 6. So Conri, you're kind of like you've got a bust in your hand at this point when you hear the knock on the door. We've got Dulius out a little further to the west of you, but the two of you kind of like lock eyes immediately. Fadia, where are you at?
I'm in number 5, the master bedroom.
Oh, you're in the master bedroom. It's cool. So you hear it, but it's a room of, who was in number 4? Someone was in 4.
Doreena's in number 4.
So Doreena, you're going through everything in this room. Oh, nice cushion. And you're even pulling back things on the chaise lounges, and you hear on the door right behind you. And then we've got Vitineous and Tiberius, like roughly in the same sort of area out towards the northeast. So you're not near the knock, but you are aware of who just did it.
Among us, who body type, size, build is closest to the head of the household?
Oh, so okay. So we're looking at a guy who's about 5'10" in height and approximately 170 pounds. Not particularly heavy set, but also not particularly athletic. He's got a little bit of a paunch going on, a little bit sort of a flabby around the arms. This is a man of simple, a simple, relaxing life. So definitely not Tiberius and Conri. Like Vitineous is a fairly like muscular guy, if I remember rightly. Dulius, what do you look like?
Strapping, handsome. Words that come to mind.
So basically, none of us are like in, because I think I'm like 5'1".
Yeah, you're a shorty.
I'm really tall, like
Well,
really.
I
tiny.
didn't make this character sheet. I just like a handsome man with short cropped hair, powerful arms, and a nimble step. He has a strong jawline, sharp eyes, and good teeth. I didn't write this. The teeth are good.
So actually, a lot of the guys in the group, I believe, almost without exception, are actually fairly strapping individuals. I think you've all got pretty good muscle mass on you. Now, I will say this, Dulius is also in appearance 80, so he's not lying to you. He is a handsome individual. But you can tell me if you feel that your characters are close to the senator, let me know. Now, but for someone like Conri, forget it. Just forget it. You're a whole different hemisphere. But like someone like Dulius or Vitineous, maybe, without sort of too much of a look on you. I think what is the height actually of even someone like Doreena?
Well, I was wondering about that. It just says she's blonde and average height. But
like so Doreena, okay, I'm not suggesting by any stretch Doreena's 170 pounds, because Doreena is definitely in shape, but Doreena is very muscular. She's got like a 60 strength, you know, she can hang. And in robes and everything, with her hair kind of like, you know, hidden out the way. Build wise, Doreena's probably close.
See, I was thinking if Doreena bolted for the bedroom, jumped into the bed, and pulled the covers all up around her, because the man of the house was pitiful and just in bed and kind of covered.
Guys, I have another idea. Like, what if it's the person's in automaton, so we just like don't go where they can see us, like hide around corners. They're gonna do their thing. We could wait till they get to the middle of the room, grab them, and we can do experiments like if we cut the wires, are they free?
That's a good idea.
I don't approve of us doing experiments on the poor and downtrodden.
Master Latinius, sir. Master Latinius.
Somebody just tell him
But
to come
it might help with the dog.
in. Somebody just tell him to come in? And Fadia like dives under the bed in the master bedroom.
Dulius is going to kind of go over, you know, from the bathroom, sort of creep towards the hallway and be like, oh, and he has never heard this guy before in his life. He's just going to make a voice and be like, oh, just leave it on the table. I don't feel like getting up. And then hide behind the door.
Okay, no, I love it. I think we will have to have out of you. You know what? Just give me. What would be appropriate here?
Charm.
I think a charm. I think a charm. Give me a charm.
Generous.
You got it.
Though immobilizing this guy might be helpful in other ways.
Well, it's not a success. And I'm trying to figure out how much luck I would need to burn to make it a success.
All right, so while you're doing that, so Doreena, you're the one that's actually in the living room when you hear the second knock and, you know, Master Latinius, sir, Master Latinius, and then you hear from the restroom area, Dulius said, oh, just leave it on the table. And it's like, it sounds pretty good to you, but then you realize that, A, you're standing right in the middle of the living room right now, and B, none of you know what this guy actually sounds like in real life. He might actually talk like that, for all of you know. What are you doing, Doreena? You suddenly feel a little bit like a torchlight is being shone on you.
I'm going to try to bolt for room 5.
Quietly.
Quietly
That's-
bolt for room 5.
Ah! No problem. But you move like a snow leopard. I mean, you do. So you shoof to one side, through the door, into the room where I think Fadia was actually in the master bedroom. And just in time to see Fadia slinking under the bed itself. So, Gabe or Dulius, what did you decide?
Dulius is burning the 12 luck I need to do to bring it to 57.
12 luck. Okay.
I see.
Okay. Before you do it, I will remember I can offer you. You can, instead of burning luck, decide to push it. And pushing it means, let's say, for the sake of argument, if you don't think that you've been convinced or been a convincing performance, that you actually, what I meant to say is, and that's your call. But if you fail the push, it is a fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know if a bad fuck up right now is what we want. I have great confidence in myself, but I don't want to be that guy that
All right.
really shits the bed. So we're just gonna do this one. I'm gonna use my luck and see how it goes.
So there is a pause from the other side of the door, and you can almost hear the question marks above his head. But then he is a humble slave, and to question the master of the villa would just not be appropriate at all, and would likely get him a good thrashing. You hear the door.
He wasn't paid to think even before he was a robot.
Well, and you know, who knows?
He wasn't really paid.
No, he wasn't. He definitely wasn't.
Which
So
is a subset of not being paid to think. Anyway, please continue.
Let's just say minimum wage in the Empire freaking sucks. So he opens, you do hear the door open, and with head down, you see this shuffling individual in simple robes, putting down a wooden platter on the main square table in the center of the room. You see him very methodically picking up the flagons and jugs and plates off the actual tray itself. He's not looking around. His movements are awkward and abrupt is the only way I could describe it. And there's one point where he almost actually knocks over the flagon because of it. And then he kind of straightens with the wooden tray in hand. And he's, what are you doing?
Well, we're gonna jump him, right? That's the plan. This is for the community.
It
You know
might
what?
be
We
your
have
plan
a
if you
chance to
want
discuss. Yeah, there was no
you
chance to
went into the
discuss.
room on
Dulius
your
goes
own.
for it. Yeah, Dulius is gonna go just body tackle him.
All right, so Dulius, Conri, you see Dulius fucking booking it past you, man. What are you doing?
I'll back him up, like, you know.
Tiberius,
just
hurry up.
give him a second hand. Or
Someone get the door.
yeah, make sure the door is closed, or just anything I see in the room. Like if it seems like he might have a struggle with the guy, dive that way. If the door is open, make sure it's closed.
The door is
Yeah.
definitely open, and I'm
Yeah.
going to let you guys push that shut as you go past. That's not a problem. Vitineous on the other side, actually in the not master living area. Vitineous, what are you doing?
Well, he's looking through the window again. Does he see anybody else in the courtyard area?
Not, well, yeah, actually, there's a couple of people in the courtyard. Right now, they have not been alerted to any form of altercation. Do you want to just keep an eye on the courtyard?
Well, where are they in the courtyard?
Oh, there's one in the area 8, which is near the actual fountain area and very posh seating. And he's just doing a general sort of clean. There's 2 further away from you on the other side of the courtyard that seem to be de-weeding the garden area.
Okay, well, he's just going to keep watch at this point.
That may not be a bad idea. Your trained military ear can hear the of running feet. Yeah, Gabe, they've got hive mind, right?
I was wondering about that.
You hear like soft running feet that you know are your friends going for it.
Okay.
You know, they're going to try and take this guy down. So you are keeping an eye on the courtyard just to make sure no one is alerted. With that said, we had Dulius start this, so I'm going to actually start with you. By the way, Dulius, you're running hell towards this slave who is looking up with a on his eyes. And you are aware that there is a man mounting behind you, also coming in. So, Dulius, what are you doing? Are you shanking a bitch? What are we doing?
No. Okay, so I guess first question is what's this? I have a thick patchwork quilt that I carry with me to put out fires, but I don't know if I have it at hand. I want to shove something into his.
This is a story-driven game, my friend. If you say you've got
I'm trying to think like where I would keep that on like a just any old day basis, and I think probably not super handy is the answer. But if there's something that I can like bunch up and try and shove in this guy's mouth. And now we have a list, so I know I have something because at the bottom of that list is my fist. But in many places above that, we've got the quilt. Maybe if he's got a nice tunic that I can just like pull over his head and just shove in his mouth.
Give me an idea, Bo. Give me an idea.
You're also in a bathroom.
A tablecloth,
towels.
a hand towel, a small dog. I got a 51 on my. No, we don't want dogs in this house. That's right.
Does that not make your idea?
Yeah. I'm a clever guy.
Yeah. No. So look, you're
Dulius
running towards this slave. This slave. So imagine you got the square of low lying chaise lounges, and he is, and then a square table in the middle of them all. He's standing near the table. As you leap across one of the chaise lounges, you're actually breaking through like silk drapes and things like that. And you could grab one of those, no problem at all, as you're going across.
Cool. I will grab silk, maybe a throw pillow. Basically, my goal is to get there and get something in his like, just gag him. Like I'm not really worried about subduing him because that's what the mountain is for. But I just want to keep him from raising an alarm. That's my goal.
All right, I'm gonna need off you. We don't actually have an unarmed skill on here, do we?
I have fighting brawling.
You have fighting brawling?
Yeah, of 80.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Man, this
Excuse the heck out of me. Okay,
so I have axes for breaking shit when fires happen. I can club things, and then also in a bar fight, I'm the guy.
So, Conri, one thing that you become aware of is as Dulius leaps over, flying knee style over the actual chaise lounge, that you swear you hear whoa as he lays the smack down. This dude's got some moves. He's seriously got some moves. Go for it, Dulius. What do you got?
Because again, I'm trying not to raise alarm, but there's a very soft parkour as I go over the chaise lounge. I mean, it's a 70, so it's a success. It's not a critical or anything.
Let me look at his skill here. Here we go. Yeah. No problem. So you fly over. He is actually really shocked, but also not entirely under control of his own sort of movements. So he kind of like is partly taking a step backwards, and that's when your knee connects with his chest. And you and you've got him down on the ground. You've actually got a pillow over his face, and you're shoving the silk thing in there at the same time. It was, I mean, you all heard, this noise. But as Vitineous is looking out, the slaves don't seem to notice. No one notices. Right. So right now, Conri, you kind of come over. You've got Dulius, who's on top of this struggling man, and it's just his arms flailing underneath the pillow.
Are you still?
I'll pin down his arms and everything and let Dulius take care of the head part, and then we'll take care of the rest.
One thing you notice, by the way, as you do grab the arms and you're pinning them down, there's a stiffness underneath the flesh, which just does not feel right at all. You actually feel like you're wrestling a guy who's wearing armor.
Well,
Fadia, are you sure that there's anything to save here?
Yes, we will find out through the scientific method.
Nope. All right, so what's everyone doing? I mean, you're all kind of like looking around.
Vatinius is giving a signal to Tiberius that everything's okay so far.
Well, so Tiberius remembers when he saw the servant who was sweeping that she was crying. So he's kind of curious if the person we just captured has not necessarily all, but some of their faculties. Like if we took them someplace, say the barn, where loud noises are less of a problem, if we could actually talk to the person.
Or if they can just like signal that they understand with their eyes or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's really
but
good.
we should have someplace safe, i.e. not in this building. Right.
Do you tie him up?
Yeah, I think that's next. If the subduing was successful,
The
we can
subduing
get-
was successful. Yeah, so you can consider that you've got him tied up and gagged.
okay. Then yeah, do we want to try and smuggle them to the barn for? I hate to use the word experimentation, but
we gotta find out somehow.
debriefing.
My other concern is, what if there's some sort of proximity thing? Like if he leaves the general area, will that notify what's his face?
Will Tiberius give me a percentile roll, please?
Uh, 19.
19.
Pretty good.
Can everyone give me a oh, what am I doing? I'm not even looking at a character sheet. A listen.
Listen.
Oh man, does this mean I at least have that, right?
Yeah.
What the heck is this?
Just made it, because listen is not my strong suit.
I got an 18 here.
I failed my lesson roll.
I
Oh.
failed.
I made it. I got a 26 out of 50.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
Nice rolls.
I mean, if
Anyone
you
that
bump it
makes
up by one, it'll be a hard success.
Not needed. But I'm not even going to have you spend the luck. Anyone that makes it, ching, ching. The hammering stops.
Oh,
Hive mind.
I find.
So for those that heard the hammering stop or recognize that the hammering has stopped, and it's been incessant since you've been here, what do you do?
I quickly tell everyone, I think they know we're here. So they know something has happened. They know that this guy, something is wrong.
So do you tell the Vatinius too?
Yeah. I'll just, you said I'm swift. I'll make sure that everyone knows. Be ready.
Well, Dulius gets his axe out and his quilt.
Okay. What's everyone else doing?
what?
Wow.
Okay. What does the room look like? Is there a roof to this room, or is it open rafters? I don't know.
There's a roof. About 10 feet overhead, there's actually a flat roof, a painted ceiling.
Okay.
I feel like we should barricade some of these doors because there are 3 ways to get to it.
Right. But there's not a whole lot of time.
So act quickly. So
Yeah.
actually, you suggested, Tiberius, did you actually want to start moving and doing something like that?
Maybe master bedroom. At least we have a known exit.
Yeah.
Well, the master bedroom is easy to hop out of because we put the table right by the window.
Yeah, I think we don't want to be cornered anywhere. So I think master bedroom's probably going to be our easiest way out.
Yeah.
Right.
And if Fadia could make a humble request for if we're going to accost the servants to please just try tying them up and not killing them outright.
I evidently have skills at making traps and snares. Is there any trap I can set up?
All right, we're going to move quickly through this because you know that you may have been rumbled. So I'm going to go through each of you in turn, and you have to tell me what you are doing. And I will start with Doreena, and I'm going to move my way through the room. So Doreena, you start thinking maybe a trap I could set up here. You were originally in the bedroom. You can move into another room quickly if you wish. What would you like to try and set up?
I'm going to move quickly back into 4. They must know he came through that door into 4. I'm going to set up a trap at the doorway into 4 from the courtyard.
All right. So I'm gonna assume that Alberta is not a master trap maker in the same way that Doreena is. So I'm not going to ask you to describe in detail what you're doing. But what is the nature of the trap? Are you wanting when they open the door something hits them? When they open the door and comes in the room they trip? What is the nature of this trap you're trying to make up?
Trip.
Trip. Okay. So all of you see Doreena moves swiftly to the front of the door, and she has pulled down some drapes as she's going, and she's rigging across the ground area between 2 pillars a tripping device that if anyone comes in, maybe that will actually hinder them for the moment. Next up, Vitineous. So Vitineous, you were looking out of the actual window. You hear this little sort of kerfuffle go down to one side. Everything seems great with the slaves. They're still continuing the work. But then you hear, so as a hammering stopped. And then you hear it too. The hammering has indeed stopped. And for a moment, you see the Xerxes, who's the smaller beefcake, kind of step onto the porch area near the workshop. Just momentarily. He hasn't had time to do anything else. But you know everyone is prepping for shit's gone south. What are you doing, Vitineous?
Well, he signals Tiberius that somebody's coming, and he says, shh, quiet, quiet.
All right. So you're going to stay by the door, maybe even get a supply sort of flanking movement.
Maybe, yeah, if I have to, I'll tag.
All right. That sounds good. And talking of which, Tiberius, what are you doing?
Tiberius is you're in room 3. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
in room 1.
Yeah, I'm in 1.
Yeah, and you see the Centurion go shh, and he's kind of indicating towards it. And you know that people are reacting. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna move into room 4 quietly.
Okay. So you go back into the master lounge area where you actually see Doreena rigging up a little trap.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Conri, the mountain. What are you doing?
Man.
Are you charging? Are you heading on out? Axe in each hand. It's kick it off, Rue. What are you doing?
Right. Oh man. God, it's so hard to decide.
Do it quick.
I know. I guess I'll also. So in room 4, is there really much area to kind of hide in a corner?
Not really. I mean, there's plenty of drapes and stuff, but you've got a pretty good idea that you hiding behind a drape it's going to take some work.
Yeah. I'm pretty stealthy.
I mean, there are chaise lounges. You'd be better off diving behind the chaise lounge on the other side of the room.
Right.
I can almost imagine Conri go, looking around.
That's all we got to worry about. Yeah.
What are you going to do? I'll skip you if you're not ready.
All right. I'm gonna move into room 4, and I'll have my spear ready to.
Where are you positioned?
Well,
Quick.
All right. Actually, I mean, honestly, I feel like I should be in room 1. Like, I feel like being in room 4 just is you're gonna get surrounded. So I'm gonna move to room 1, ready to pounce if I see somebody.
Room 1, as in the bathroom.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Room 1.
By the blacksmith area.
No.
Okay.
No.
The other room 1. I don't know why they've got the same numbers going on here. There's like multiple room 1s, but the one to the northeast or one to the west area.
To the northeast.
Okay. So Doreena, Fadia, etc. You become aware of Conri momentarily going, and he's kind of trying to make a decision, and then he goes booking it as only a mountain can into the actual non-master suite area where Galerius lives. He goes heading off into that room. Dulius, what are you doing?
Okay, so I know I just came from the other room 1. That was the one to the west.
Yes.
Was there any sort of standing water for the bath or anything like that? How are Roman baths set up? Is there water? Or is there like a thing you have to pump?
You get the impression in this particular area they bring water in.
So there wasn't any water already in there. And I'm asking because I have this, I keep talking about this fucking quilt. I want to soak my quilt.
Is that a euphemism?
No, that's actually, makes it heavy. It's water. I don't know. Could be useful somehow.
Okay, you know what? Give me a luck roll. Let's see if there's water in there. If you want water in there, I explicitly said the other bathroom was dry. I didn't talk about this one. Let's see if it's actually got water in it.
It does not. No water. So I'm not going to bother going in there because I was just in there and I probably know that it has no water.
Yeah, you would know that it was dry.
And which means I like sticking by my mountain. So I'm going to go stand by your mountain with my quilt and my axe.
Okay, and you've seen Conri is heading towards the northeast area, the secondary sort of lounge, and that's the room that he's going into. So right now, and I'm going to do Fadia, right now, the only person remaining in room 4 is Doreena, currently, who's setting up a trap. Fadia.
Okay, actually, given that I'm not going to abandon Doreena. I will basically set myself and stay.
Are you attempting to hide, stay behind a chaise lounge? What are you doing?
I'll go kind of hide, like right by the door between 6 and 4. I'll go over there and kind of just be ready. And there's a nice escape route that way too.
Okay, and Fadia, you're currently underneath the bed.
Yep.
And you hear all of this running around going on from your friends.
I mean, the prudent thing to do would be to stay hidden under the bed, and hopefully things go down one way or another. But she will get out from under the bed, and sort of the doorway between 5 and 4, like I figure she'll be in like a nice hidden corner behind there, just in case shit really goes down. But it's also like a little bit of hidden and easy access to the window if it really gets awful. And she'll just kind of pull out her poison and suddenly start coating her sicko with it.
Okay, no problem at
Because
all.
boy, she's got a special place for those in Xerxes' heart.
You all hear a whistle, like the type of whistle that guys do when they shove their fingers in their mouths. It's this long, sharp, piercing whistle, and then a Tiberius, heal. Vitineous, you can see Xerxes is striding towards room 4. He's moving past the doorway of the bathroom, room 1. As he is making his way over there, you actually see that he is not pulling out any level of weaponry. In fact, if anything, you can actually see his left hand is beginning to crackle with electricity. You all hear, and charging across the courtyard from the front door is this half metal dog. And each time one of its paws hits the gravel or the stone floor, you can hear the shing, shing, shing as it comes bolting on over. Everyone just jump in if you want to act, as you're generally getting a sense of what is happening out there. Doreena, You're finished, but I'm not going to get you to do your trap roll yet until it actually springs, and we'll see how good your trap was. But you are aware of heavy footsteps and metal footsteps heading your direction. What do you want to reposition yourself?
Drag the body in the wall.
Where is the body? Is it still in 4?
Yes, the body's still lying there in 4 right now.
I will drag the body into 1.
Okay, so this is the area where we also have Tiberius, and like just around the corner in the restroom sort of area, you could see that Vitineous is there. So you drag the body, and as you do, the doorway to room 4 opens. There's no pause, there's no knock. Xerxes, the bald-headed, muscular Egyptian individual, just pushes open the door without even a pause. And right behind him, skidding to more of just of a walk, is Dulius the dog, who's not growling or anything, but he's clearly perturbed. Very, very, very close by, Vitineous, you're looking out of the hatch window, and you can see both Xerxes and Dulius heading into the master bedroom area.
Okay, Vatinius quickly opens the door and he's going to attack the dog.
Awesome. Okay, so
By surprise, if possible.
So you're stealth. You're sneaking up.
Yeah, sneaking up and then do a backstab if that's possible.
we will see, won't we, Peter? We will see. But yeah, so your intent is you open up the door and you start sneaking along the covered walkway towards where Xerxes and the dog are beginning to enter. Now, at this point in time, I would like Doreena to give me a couple of rolls. First and foremost, I would like you to roll for Xerxes spot hidden. Give me a percentage. You want high on this one. You're rolling for the bad guy. All right, Ella.
61.
That's good. Xerxes does not notice the impromptu trap that you have set up, and his heel catches, I suppose it's like between the foot and the calf, catches this impromptu trap you have. Give me a trap roll.
53.
Does that make it?
Uh,
Where was your trap making?
where is trap?
They're in alphabetical order, aren't they?
Well, and what skill were you using for this?
Well, it tells me that I have trap and snare making skills.
Trap and snares. What would be appropriate for this? You know, I think we could use your intelligence for this one. I think you make it on that.
Okay.
All right. So you can't see this. I'm not sure who's actually got an eye into the living room area. Well, in fact, Dulius is in the living room, so I will describe it for you. You're up against, in fact, Fadia, even though you're in the master bedroom, you can kind of see into the room. Both of you see Xerxes come in. There's a confident stride to him, like he's not answering to anyone, but also a quizzical what is happening here. But genuinely, he's kind of like looking around, but doesn't really expect that someone else is around. And his foot catches the silk drape that's been tied between two pillars, and he falls. He falls straight over with a very inelegant oof, and his face actually hits the chaise lounge that's nearest the door, and he goes sprawling. Meanwhile, coming up behind the doggy, I am going to need a stealth roll, please, Vitineous. And you really want to try and make this, as you are now behind Tellus the dog.
45 is my base. Let's see what I roll. I rolled an 06.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
okay. Okay. That's nice. That's nice. So it's been a long, Vitineous, it's been a while since you've had to sneak like this, but it starts casting you back to the days when you were sneaking back on a Gaulish camp, and you get down low and your feet just glide across the floor, and suddenly Dulius and Fadia, you could see the imposing silhouette of Vitineous, the centurion, by the door. The dog is now in the room. We've got Xerxes sprawled on the floor. Vitineous, you're there. What are you doing? The dog is completely oblivious to your presence right now.
I'm gonna attack the dog.
Okay.
My sword.
You don't want to kill Xerxes?
Well, the dog, I assume the dog's between me and Xerxes. Right?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Also, do we hear Xerxes fall?
Yes. Yes. It's loud. It's like the opposite of ballet. It is just like furniture goes, like that even like, you know, cutlery and shit on the table that's just been placed there, that starts falling off. Yeah, I mean, he falls.
I mean, if I hear that, then I mean, he's going to yell, and he knows that something happened. So he's going to yell and get help. So, I mean, I feel like I would charge into the room.
Okay. This is going to be after Vitineous makes his move, but yeah, you know that it's going to be yelling and a general alarm going off. Awooga, awooga.
He's gonna try to do a lethal blow, but what I roll the sword, or what I roll on this?
Yeah, you have a gladius skill. It's under weapons. You have a 70 unless you've improved it since.
No, it's 79. No.
Oh, you got 79 now. Well, excuse me, Mr. Badass. Now, do you have any particular? No, you've got the tower shield that you carry around, but you don't have any magical weapons or anything like that, do you?
Nothing
Okay.
magical. So I need to get a good roll with my sword here.
Yeah, and again, getting higher results is better. Getting a critical on a weapon attack is freaking lethal, guys, if you can get it.
Well, I got a 57 out of 79.
All right, so you hit. You hit him. Give me some damage. Now, your damage is going to be your D8 for the gladius plus 1, plus your damage bonus, and your damage is a D4. So you got a D8 plus a D4 plus 1. You want high, as high as you can possibly get.
I got a 6 for my 8. And then it's plus 1 though, right? So that's a 9, right?
Yeah, plus your D4 for your damage bonus.
And I roll 4-sided die.
Yep.
I got a 3 on my 4-sided die.
All right, add them all together.
Okay, it's a.
You said you got a 6 and a 3. That's 9 plus 1, so 10, right?
10 points, yeah.
Right. So what is that? Oof. All right. So Vitineous comes into the room. Vitineous, you carry around your shield, right, as well?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Vitineous comes into the room. He's got this imposing shield in his left hand. He's got the gladius in his right hand, and he just stabs down on the back of the neck of the dog, which would normally be outright killing blow for any living creature on this planet. And it bites deep, and you all hear shing like it's metal on metal. The dog howls in pain, but is still there. And by the way, for you, Vitineous, when you did this, it was very reminiscent of you stabbing through a man's armor. It felt exactly the same way. This is an armored thing in front of you. All right. That was a surprise attack. No one got to actually do anything else outside of that. Vitineous has kicked this thing off, arguably. We do have Xerxes on the ground, but he is beginning to make a little bit of a kerfuffle. And of course, the dog is kicking off. Now, normally what we would do is we would go in dexterity order. Okay, so I am going to get everyone's dexterity, and this includes the bad guys here. So let me just make a note. Sometimes I simplify this, but I think this could be actually working against the party if I simplify it. So I'm going to get, what have we got? We've got Doreena has got a 60. We've got Fadia has got a 70. So I'm going to put Fadia at the top of the list here right now. We've got Tiberius. Tiberius, you've got a 60. And we've got Dulius with a 70. Okay.
Oh, all right.
And Vitineous with a 55. And who else? Oh, I'm missing someone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Conri's got a 60.
Oh, Conri, you said 70?
60.
60. Okay. Perfect. Let me just look at the bad guys real quick. Where's the main man himself? There we go. Okay. Okay. Pandemonium starts to erupt. Xerxes starts to shout. Cutlery and plates start falling off the table. There's a howling, metallic, screeching howl coming from Tellus, the dog. I should have called the Tellus Tullus. Next time.
I wondered if the dog was supposed to be an anagram of Tullus.
You know what? Yes. Yes, it is. All right. Bonus points to the person that kills Tullus. I mean, Tullius.
Tilius.
So we've got you, and then we've got now. Where was the dog in this? Okay. So the dog turns. The dog turns instinctively on the centurion and snaps at whatever just attacked him from behind. At the pace that it's moving at, you're not even sure that it even knows what it's snapping at. I would like, I'm going to actually get Pete to do this roll. Pete, let's see if you can hit your dad. Pete, give me a percentile roll. Again, you're rolling for the bad guy, so you want high.
87.
Ooh, all right.
All right.
That's the type of roll that you want to do. All right, so
It's time to burn up our bad rolls.
Tellus turns around, snaps at the centurion. The centurion, you just get behind your big, huge tower shield. It was a big bite, and it actually gouges out part of the wood from the shield itself. Just metal slithers of teeth just gouging away at it. Next up, Dulius.
Okay, so there's the dog. I guess the dog probably has its butt in the door at this point. And then there's Xerxes. I know
the person,
Dulius
the person in the door is the centurion Vitineous. He's in the door with his big shield. He's basically
okay.
now
So
at
the
your
dog's
door.
kind of come through. The dog's in the room.
inside. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Dulius's first reaction when Xerxes went down was, leap and just go at him. I kind of didn't want to just try and behead the guy with the axe. I was going to try and hit him with the backside of the axe, just back of the head, try and knock him out. I feel like Dulius hasn't escalated quite to the point of just beheading a guy on the floor at this point. So he's going to go, and I don't know if there's like a subdual thing for this, but he's going to take the axe, probably broadside, just back of the head, trying to knock this guy out.
You could say that you're doing subdual damage. That's fine. You're okay doing that.
Right now, I'm just trying to knock this guy out.
So this guy is on the ground. Good job, Doreena. This guy is on the ground. Granted, he's pushing himself up as fast as he can, but it's not quite fast enough. I'm going to need you. You're going to do an attack roll with your club, with your axe, but you can have a bonus die because he's on the ground.
A bonus for the attack or a bonus for the damage?
Attack. So you roll your 10s twice and you take the best one.
That's nice.
Cool. Okay. So it is either a 28 or a 78. I think I'll go with the 28.
That seems reasonable.
Yep.
Give me some damage.
Damage for this is a D6 plus damage bonus, which is a D4. For a grand total of 8 is the number.
8. Oh, that's a big hit. That is a big hit. All right.
Pretty
so
close to my maximum.
You actually, because you were behind, like off to one side of the room, Xerxes goes down. You just take several steps forward. You've got the axe facing backwards on him, and you just whack him. As he's pushing up, there is this sickening, bone-crunching crack as you hit him at the base of his skull. And he drops down onto the ground again with a splutter of blood. Yeah, it was subdual, but it was one hell of a hit. He is groaning as he is trying to push him up. So he's not completely out, but he is bloody hurt from that one. He is like not a happy camper right now.
Nice.
The comes of a bus just hit this guy and he's wondering what the hell is going on. All right. Fadia, what would you like to do, darling?
Oh man, I'm kind of with Dulius about not wanting to kill him, but at the same time, I do want to disarm him, by which I mean literally remove his arm.
Okay.
The magical one. So I would like to take the opportunity to basically like pounce from my corner onto his back, 2 knives at the shoulder joint, and just, they're magical, so
That won't kill him.
it won't kill him. The poison might eventually, but hopefully he'll tell me what I want to know. So I mean, I could just give him the antitoxin later if he's cooperative.
Well, so this is a guy that was trapped, so had no defense roll, who is now actually received more than half of his hit points in one hit. So he's virtually unconscious, and you pounce upon him. So you can simply, Fadia, my darling, you can do your knives attack, your 2 knives attack, and you can also get a bonus die.
I think so.
The 13 is quite nice.
That's going to be a crit.
Oh,
All right. So the crit does max damage plus your regular damage. So do a d4 plus 2.
So I actually get 2 attacks with my knives, and the second attack was a 4 as well. So
Good Lord.
Okay. Do 2d. Don't bother.
well, I don't want to kill him. I just want to remove the arm.
Well,
We can find
I
somebody
got
else.
news for you, sister. So, Conri, from your perspective, you and Vitineous, you've come into the room, you stab the dog in the back of the neck, it lashes around at you, you get your shield up, it takes a chunk out of your shield. Meanwhile, you can see behind the dog, Dulius comes into view, smacks Xerxes, who's pushing himself upright in the back of the head with his bone-splitting crunch. Xerxes goes to the ground, and out of the shadows, Fadia appears and goes, shik, 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 and removes his left arm. Just removes it. It is surgical in its precision. The damage is hellish. His arm is off, and he just slumps to the ground as blood just starts splutting all over the floor.
If you could just keep him from dying for a wee bit.
No, it's okay. We can find somebody else to talk to.
let him die.
Well, it may be worth it to keep him alive.
I didn't want to kill him, but I'm not going to try and save him.
Conri, you would have been proud of that one, my friend. All right, so Conri, I believe that you were in the secondary living room area.
Right.
You saw Vitineous buck out, and you were aware of the fight going on. What are you doing?
I mean, I see the dog turn to fight Vitineous.
Yes.
I'm kind of behind the dog, so I'm gonna lunge at it, and I mean, screw it, I'll stab it.
The dog is now kind of up against a shield, and he's just every single time, like pieces of wood are just getting splintered off all around him.
Goodness for
The
Shield.
the good old say axe worked well with it can kill a bird. I think it can kill a dog. So
Now, the magical effect on that lasted for about an hour or so, right?
Right.
Yeah, let's go.
So
Give me one.
14, which and can I burn 1 luck to turn into a 13, which is an extreme success?
Yes, you can.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
And let me just look what this guy's defense is. What is your... okay, so you got a 13. What is your base skill, by the way?
65.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to hit him. Give me some damage.
All right. So looking at 8 damage total.
8. Okay, another 8 of them. So, Vitineous, you become aware. I mean, you've got this dog on you. You've got it back. You're pushing back, and you're fighting. You're hitting the dog. The dog's trying to get to you, and this huge hulking Conri comes up and just, Conri, what's the weapon you're using?
It's the Sayax.
And he smacks this dog with the Sayax, and like pieces of metal and crystal actually fly off it, but the dog doesn't let off the attack at all.
Yeah.
All right, Doreena, what are you doing?
I am going to run forward with a net and throw it over the dog.
Good move.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I can dig it.
So I don't know what I need to roll.
You've got a skill of 35 under your weapons.
Okay. I got a 42.
Okay. So Doreena runs into the room and with a net, which actually, oh, nice idea. Over the top of the dog. It partially catches the dog and it's partly kind of like, pulling against the net, but it's not on him to an incapacitating state.
What if I burn some luck to do it?
You'd have to burn at least 7.
Okay, I'll burn 7 luck to get
All right,
the
burn
net.
7 luck. Take it off your seat.
Okay.
The dog actually, in its attack, manages to pull the net on and around itself more and on its legs. The dog will be at a minor hindrance now moving forwards. Tiberius.
All right, I want to get in on the action and attack this dog.
All right. I'll allow you to be the last person because now we've got 1 in front and we'll have like basically 2 around the sides and behind it. You being 1. As everyone is like, get down.
49 to hit, so it's just a normal hit, and I'm using a long sword.
Okay, I would like... Actually, let's get Dulius to do this. Dulius, give me a percentile roll.
I've been rolling pretty decently. I kind of don't want to.
Well, this is your chance to roll really badly. You want high. You're rolling for the doggy.
Oh no.
What do you
I
get?
can't hear you.
Can't hear.
39.
All right. So, Tiberius, you come up with your sword and you slash at the dog. The dog actually moves to one side and you miss it.
Oh, damn.
Sorry.
Vitineous. You seem to be the subject matter of this dog's ire right now. It's definitely been beaten up. You have Conri and Tiberius bashing away at it. The dog is partly caught up in this net.
I'm going to attack vigorously with my sword.
Seems to be an appropriate thing to do.
All right, here's a percentile.
And just so you guys know how Cthulhu works, animals can basically try to dodge a number of times equal to their attacks before they actually start to suffer an impedance to it.
Gotcha. 23 out of,
Now it's in a net, right?
Yeah.
got a 23 out of 79.
Okay, that's a hard result. That's a good result on there. Fadia, can I get you to do a percentile roll for the doggy, please?
Sure. 52.
All right. So that failed the dodge, and so basically, Vatinius, you got a hard result. The doggy would have needed to get a hard result as well on his dodge. As it is, he just plain failed. So you hit him. Give me some damage. Give me hellish damage here.
So 8-sided die, right?
Which,
You should be getting a D8 plus a D4 plus 1.
All right. The 8 was a 1.
Oh,
And here's the 4 was a 3.
That's a total of 4, a total of 5.
5 total.
All right. So all of you fighting this dog right now, you could actually see Vitineous pushes the dog back with his shield long enough to slash him with the gladius. It actually gets the dog on the jaw, but you all hear this shink off the metal for the most part. And then the shield's back up again. And then you all hear, well, 2 things. You all hear Xerxes on the ground go, he is... like with the priestess going, he's done. But you all hear, as you're pretty darn sure that the bigger Andre has decided he should get involved, but he's not here yet. But you definitely hear the gook, gook, gook of his feet coming in your direction. Time to get this situation under control. Back to the top of the round. Phyllis, the dog, goes first. And I am going to get... Look a little, Alberta, just sitting there all instant. Let's see if we can get her to kill her husband's character. Alberta, I am going to want off you, please, 2 percentile rolls. 1 for the bite, 1 for a claw. No, there is no claw. No, my bad. He can't do both at the same time. Just the bite. Give me a percentile roll. Don't low stupidly low. Don't low stupidly low.
58.
How much?
58.
58 is a hit. Okay, so Vitineous, this dog is going to hit you unless you can either dodge out the way, which I believe that you do have some dodge skill, or you can use your shield. You have a large shield with a 65% chance.
Which is bigger.
Yeah, I'll use a shield. That's bigger.
All right, so you roll against 65. So the dog is getting a regular hit on you.
Here's the roll.
Sorry, Peter.
Here's the roll for the shield.
Yeah.
I roll a 20.
All right, that's actually a hard result. That's better than the dog's standard of results, right? He got a hit, you got a good hit. So you block with the shield. So you are fine. Just to give you an idea, by the way, of this dog's bite, it's doing quite a bit of damage. Like a chunk of shield comes off from this block. So you're glad that you managed to get it in the way. Okay. You all feel, and some of you see, depending upon your advantage point in the villa right now, all of the slaves stand upright and look towards the master bedroom area. You almost can hear them go shrink as they stand, and they shuffle and they face. That's them done. All right. Dulius.
Now, from what I understood, the area sort of around the dog was kind of full up. There wasn't any more room for people to kind of get in there.
Right.
The Xerxes has been disarmed.
Xerxes has been literally disarmed.
Yeah.
So the dog's still going.
Well, you can.
Well, the dog's still going, but I can't get in
The
there.
dog is still fighting nicely. It does have an impediment with the net, but it's doing fine. But you can hear the deep growl and heavy footsteps of Andre heading over.
I don't know if I want to go meet Andre one-on-one.
Andre.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I mean, at least for me, I'm sort of inside the room. The dog is the immediate threat, though there's a bunch of people around him. I just saw our resident legionnaire get almost not quite. He did that attack didn't connect. I think I don't know. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get ready with my.
It connected with the shield. If it had connected, you're pretty sure a foot would have come off the Centurion.
Oh, you're making me reconsider my action that I'm about to do. But I'm basically gonna get ready with my action and be like, I'm ready to step in if one of you wants to attack and step out, and I just want to ready an attack for if someone wants to clear a spot for me.
Okay.
I want to move in,
so to speak. Yeah. Okay, so Fadia.
Okay.
So there is a mad melee going on, basically in the doorway of the living room right now. You've got three hulking guys, including Vitineous himself, and this snarling dog that is just snapping at all of them. And it is a maelstrom of blades going on at the doorway. You are aware that the household seems to have woken up, so to speak, and you are definitely aware of gunk, gunk, gunk coming your direction from the workshop.
I'm gonna nudge that loose arm under a
like with a whistle.
Well, no, like I'm gonna nudge it with like a foot, like under one of the little Shea Lounge chairs.
Oh, how did that happen?
Yeah, oops. For later study, and then sort of move around the mass of bodies into area 3, like that bathroom, because I know that there's another way out into the courtyard from there.
Yes, there is. There is.
I like to do it from behind. So
okay, and then so Conri.
I'm gonna keep fighting this dog.
Give me roll. You're amazed at the sheer volume of damage that this thing is taking right now, and it's still going with equal strength.
So I got a 32, which is a hard result.
Okay, that's great. Why don't we get Peter to give me a percentile roll to defend for the dog?
Okay.
You want to roll high?
Okay. Oh, roll a 21.
Okay. So, Conri, you actually swing again for the dog. This time, though, the dog, because it is just scrambling and jumping, you miss it. You swing wide. It skips straight off the back of it altogether. In fact, why don't I put Tiberius, because you've got the same speed as Doreena, but why don't you go next, Tiberius, because you're also on the dog.
All right, I can do that.
Don't forget, if one of you steps out, I can step in.
I failed 81.
Yeah, that's just going to be a swing wide. Did you wish to step out?
I will step out.
Okay. Just like behind you, you basically have Dulius go, back up, I'll get in there. So you swing at it. The dog just effortlessly sort of it gets out of the way of it. You kind of step back. Dulius steps in.
So I'm going to step out of the fight and head towards room 1, which is the door, or the room,
the bathroom
right
area where Fadia is going.
No, the one near the Tinkerer, the other room 1.
Room 1 next to 7.
Room 1 next to what now?
7.
The one right next to the workshop.
Yeah, isn't that where Fadia is going?
Yeah, I'm going to 3.
Oh, Fadia went. Oh, you went around to where Vitineous was originally. Okay. Yeah. So you step out and you start heading towards the bathroom, towards the workshop. Fadia is headed actually towards the east, and she's planning on actually coming in from the other bathroom. All right.
Although it sort of makes sense to probably go into the workshop and take out. Now that I think about it, to take out Nectarius.
So with that said, we were on, I think we were doing, so Tiberius is backed up, Tullius just jumped in.
Yeah, so I rolled a 59 on my attack with the X versus my attack skill is an 8.
Your attack skill is an 8, what?
8-0.
Oh, so you got a regular hit. Let's get Tom to give me a defense roll for the dog.
All right, come on. It's a 94.
Nowhere near. The blow hits, Dulius.
Nice. Okay, so that is a D6 and a D4 as usual.
Yeah.
And that is a 7.
Okay.
bang over the back of this dog's head. It momentarily kind of totters to one side before it continues its biting assault upon the centurion. It is still there. It is like you're trying to beat down a statue. It just will not go down. Doreena.
I have swiftly run to room 3 so I can look down the hall to see if I see Andre coming, and I have pulled my crossbow.
Yeah, okay. So as you're entering room 3, you can actually see Fadia is also entering room 3. And if you look through the grill on the doorway, you can actually see this huge hulking 6.5 foot tall giant of a man entering the master bathroom. And his left hand is glowing white.
Do I get a chance to shoot my crossbow at him before he goes in?
Yeah, I'll permit that. One thing both of you also see, by the way, is the 3 slaves that were in the courtyard area are now standing upright, staring towards the master bedroom area, and are walking towards it in a very purposeful, if disjointed, like manner. And you become aware that there are other movements from deeper in the household coming your way as well. So you let's shoot with the crossbow bolts.
23.
All right. That's going to hit it. By the way, I think the crossbow bolt damage is wrong on this. You're going to do a d6 damage on it. You might as well adjust that permanently on your character sheet.
Okay.
Okay, so give me a d6 damage.
5.
Good.
Oh, that's a nice one. All right, Andre, you just took some damage, son. So Andre is like moving into the master bathroom when this crossbow bolt hits him out of the darkness right in the right shoulder. And he rips it out of his arm, glowers across the courtyard towards your doorway, even though he can't see you yet. And he holds up his left hand. And from his left hand, there is this bolt of white light that just crackles and arcs and jumps from the roof to the columns and snakes its way down the corridor and bursts into the doorway where you're standing. Tom, why don't you give me a percentile roll, please?
All right.
I roll.
I swear it's a 94. I'll pick up the board and show it.
No, I believe you, my friend. I believe you. So, Doreena, you see this electricity display coming towards you, and it arcs all around the doorway and everything where you're standing, and the door actually splinters in parts where it hits, but you duck back in time. You're fine. It does not hit you at all. But it is a, oh, what is that moment?
Yeah.
Vitineous, over to you and this dog. The fight still goes on.
Yes, continue to attack the dog.
Yep.
There's a percentile die. Roll 92, that's a miss.
That's just going to be a plain miss, right? So, yeah, I should have declared it beforehand, so it's not going to do it, because he could counterattack instead of dodging, but he didn't do that. Okay, so you swing at the dog, again, miss. So I think this entire round, mostly there were misses, maybe with one scrape from Dulius. Back up the top of the round, we're actually on Talus the dog himself. So he's definitely been pounded. He has pieces of crystal that have been broken off him. He has some armored pieces that are no longer on his body, just exposing some clockwork apparatus underneath him. So you're definitely doing damage, but oh my God, he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Again, he bites towards the centurion with his savage, snapping metal jaw. Let's get Pete to roll for the doggy.
94.
It's a 71. Not bad.
Oof, then you're fine. You're fine. So again, so Vitineous, this dog is coming at you. He's scrambling. He's trying to get over your shield. But you've had worse. You've handled many barbarians with more strength than this. And you're kind of pushing him back, pushing him back. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. All of you hear a whirring, buzzing sound. And your hair on your head and the back of your arms or your beards starts to tingle with static electricity. The noise is coming from the workshop area. Dulius, you're facing the dog.
And I'm gonna keep on swinging at the dog.
The dog is going to counterattack you on this one.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
I'm gonna listen now.
27.
That's a damn good time to get a good roll. Pete, will you roll for the dog again? So the way a counterattack works is if he was dodging, he has to equal your results. If he's going to counterattack, he has to beat your results.
Unfortunately, I rolled
Okay.
You rolled a what?
You rolled a what?
13.
13. All right, so a 13 for him. It's not going to be critical. He gets a hard hit. And Dulius, what did you get?
I got a 27. Is that the kind of thing I'd spend luck on?
Not after the fact like that.
Not after the fact. Okay.
But so basically, you swing at him with a damn good swing. He counters you, but he does not beat the quality of your result. He got a hard result. You got a hard result. You hit him. If he was doing a dodge, he would have gone out the way.
Interesting. Okay.
But if he had actually got a critical, beating the quality of the result, he would have actually hit you instead.
So a regular would beat a hard result, and the critical beats, or sorry, a hard result would be a regular.
It's literally like rock, yeah. It's not even rock paper scissors at that point. Yeah, but yeah.
It's rock paper, and then something that beats both rock and paper. Anyway, I rolled a 3. I rolled very badly this time, but you know, all things
3.
equal out. Yep.
But you're okay. So that actually completely bounces off it.
Come here.
Fadia. So you are also witness. You see Doreena shoot a crossbow bolt. Beautiful accuracy, by the way. Hits this freaking huge hulking barbarian, no problem at all. He retorts with a weapon you were not expecting. But the room lights up with this eerie white blue momentarily for a couple of seconds, and then it just fades away. But now you can hear Andre charging across the courtyard towards your room. What are you doing?
I don't want to be here anymore. And honestly, I think I'm more afraid of whatever Nectarius is doing. And I'm gonna step back out and go around the middle. I'm like, you can do this, Doreena. I believe in you. Praise the sun.
And are you going back then towards the master bathroom?
Yeah, back towards the master bathroom and to one that's close to 7.
Yeah, okay. So all of the guys fighting this dog right now, you see Doreena and Fadia run past you. And then momentarily later, they're like outside lights up with electricity arcing. And then Fadia comes running past behind you again towards the master bathroom area.
She's got like a couple frayed hairs that she's tucking back into place.
And she's like, "You've got this, Doreena!" And she comes running past you. All right, so you're in the bathroom now at this point. Conri.
You gotta be it.
It's time to put this dog down. It's a 27, which is a hard result.
27 hard result. Nice. Gabe, let's do a counterattack, even though it's a hard result. Gabe, roll for the dog. Give me less than 12.
Oh, no.
I did not give you less than 12. I rolled a 29.
Oh, it was a nice one. So he's like, and he snarls at you too, but you dodge, you move to one side, and you smack it right in the middle of its spine. Give me some handsome damage.
All right. That's max damage. That's 10 damage.
Oh, that's nice. And you're doing this with the magically enhanced weapon too. All right. So at the beginning of this fight was actually the hardest hit, and it was from Vitineous. After that, everything was baited. Ching, 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 ching. It snarls at you. It tries to get to you. And you actually just move to one side. You put one foot on its forearm, pinning it to the ground, and you just smack it right to the middle of its spine. And there is a crack, and there's a discharge of electricity for a moment. Its eyes burst with light, and then it is still.
Oh man, good job.
And I just pull out a knife and I'm like,
Nice one. Nice one. Good kill. Good kill. But things are only just now beginning to liven up. Tiberius, so you had stepped out of the fight on this one. Did you relocate yourself? Sorry, I forget.
I did. I moved in the room next to the tinker, and now I would like to slink around and see
Right,
what
perfect.
the noise was.
So you, by the way, be aware that Fadia is running up behind you. You know, Fadia, you can see him, and he's now, I think, slinking out. So Tiberius, you go out. What are you doing?
What's in the room?
All right.
Like,
So
poke around
when you,
my head while I
first
shoot.
thing you see when you come into the courtyard, to your left, there is this giant of a man running away from you towards the son's bedroom area. That's the first thing that you're aware of. The other thing is the slaves are coming out of the other parts of the villa. They're shuffling in your direction, and all of them look scared. They look scared, like someone is just dragging them towards you. No one is close to you yet, but you're aware of the whole villa coming alive. To your right, there is this whining, this keening howl that's beginning to build up, and you can feel it on your skin. You start to get goosebumps. Your hair starts to stand on end. As you peer around the corner, you see this large open area. The entire perimeter is covered with all manner of benches, covered in wires and crystals and pieces of plating and marble. In the center of the room, there is a large bench, massive, oversized bench. And standing on the bench, you can see Nectarius. And Nectarius is gesticulating over the partially built statue. Couple of things. One is there is this white light coming from Nectarius's hands that seems to be flowing down like a mist into the statue itself. The other is the statue is got both legs but only one arm, and is actually pushing itself upright slowly, but it is doing it.
Okay. At this time, I would like to take out my bow and shoot Nectarius.
I think that would be, and he, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give you a bonus die on this too, because he is not aware of you being there.
Always take a little result.
This machine god, you don't want to see upright.
Okay, so it's going to be a 20. It's going to be a 26 and 75. What would make it? So it's already a hard result.
Right. So if you want to get into bonus damage territory, you've got to have a fifth of your skill.
15.
So what's your bow skill?
I think we'll just say the 26 then.
so he got a hard result.
Yeah, I got a 26, so it's a hard result, and I'd have to burn 11 luck to make it critical.
If you do bump it up to a critical, remember you get max damage plus damage.
Fuck it, we'll make it a critical. I'll burn the 11 luck.
I think it's worth it.
Now, is this your Arcus weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you all have these little itty bitty things that you've got.
So you don't need to roll, you get the maximum damage.
Yeah, well, what you do is you get max damage plus damage.
Oh,
It's an impaling shot.
That was a good move, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a D8 for damage.
Yep.
Oh, that's been one die.
Okay, I rolled an 8.
Oh my god.
Oh,
You did.
all right, nice. So you nice, good one. So you kept your good rolls for the end. So you poke around the corner, you see what's going on, you make a very quick decision, pull out your bow, let loose. It goes right into the back of the neck of Nectarius and right up the front. There is a choking sound as he starts to choke on his own blood. He spits out blood. The white light coming off him instantly stops and he crumples on top of the statue. The statue crumples back down onto the bench.
Nice.
That's a powerful.
All of the slaves crumple down onto the ground.
Oh,
Okay.
my goodness.
They just all collapse like marionettes with their strings cut.
And we just got the giant guy.
Right.
You've got the dog.
The dog is dead. The jay is dead. Xerxes is dead. But Andre is not. So that was on Tiberius. Doreena, you have Andre the Giant had pummeling towards you at 100 miles an hour right now. What are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm aimed with the crossbow. My plan is shoot the left shoulder, and then I want to run toward room 1. You know, like shoot and run.
Don't run away.
Well, I don't want to be hit by the electric.
Hold the line. Hold the line. Oh.
Well, then I'll hold at 1 when he turns the corner. I'm ready to shoot again from there.
All right. So you pull back your crossbow, you put another bolt in, you shoot, and you're already beginning to back up. Give me one. Let's hit this guy. You've already hit him pretty good. His right arm is just pouring with blood.
Let's see. Okay, I rolled a 50, which is less than 65.
Yeah, so that's a regular hit. That's a regular hit.
Okay. I'll take a regular hit.
So he can't dodge a bolt. He doesn't have a shield. So he's taking it. Give me the D6 damage.
6.
Oh, that's a good hit. That's a big hit. So actually, he's barreling towards you. You back up, go stunk, and it hits him right in the stomach area. And he actually, not only does he stop, but he actually gets lifted off the ground a little bit and ends up on his back with this thing sticking out of him. Now, immediately you can see him reaching towards the bolt, so you know he's not dead, but he is lying down and he is not counterattacking you. Good one. Vitineous, dog is down. Andre the Giant just ran past you. Then suddenly he's behind you again, but lying on his back with a bolt sticking out of his stomach. What are you doing?
Denise is going to attack, try to kill him.
All right. So you turn around, you become aware of Doreena sort of slugging, like retreating into the shadows. Probably a little surprised that she actually took this guy down. But he is reaching out and he is just pulling, he's wrenching this bolt out of him. And you stand above him.
25 and my 79 is the out of 79.
Oh,
Okay, it's not a critical, but it is a good hit. I'm not going to allow him to dodge because Doreena literally just took him off his feet.
Waiting for a critical.
So what did you?
So
what's your
25.
What's your skill?
25 out of 79.
79.
You would need like a 14, 15. You need a 15.
It's a 15.8. I don't know if you round up or down.
You round down.
Okay, gotcha.
It might be worth throwing some luck on this one.
It's up to you. I did well with triangle.
He's down on the ground.
So how much? Let's see. How much luck minus what?
So you need to get to 15.
So I need to
What
take
do you-
off 10.
Is that what you want to do?
Well, look, you're a military guy, okay? Without you burning your luck, I'm gonna give you this one because you are a military guy and you've killed a lot of men in your time. You don't know just how tough this guy is, but he took a crossbow bolt to his right arm and is pouring with blood. He's just taken a hefty crossbow bolt to his stomach, and while he's trying to wrench it out, He is literally gagging up blood from his mouth right now. So while he has a little bit of get up and go, you don't think you necessarily need to pour in the point, shall we just say?
All right, so then I'll just roll.
Because you're doing like a D8 plus 1 plus a D4.
Right.
As long as you don't roll like a cabbage, it should be enough.
All right, here's the D8.
You watch bad advice from the GM. He's gonna roll like a cabbage.
The 6 plus a 4-side die.
You're not sure.
A 2. That's 8 plus 1. 9 damage.
Okay. So he is attempting to pull the bolt out of him, pushing himself up. He becomes aware of you towering over him, and you just backslash the gladius across his throat, and you almost completely decapacitate him, and he slumps to the ground. Done.
But he's not dead yet.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
I finally killed some.
Well, you've been doing good damage all day. And that was definitely a killing blow. The villa goes quiet. The electricity that was building up stops. Your head and your goosebumps that were beginning to build up stops. Everything immediately returns to normal. There is still that metallic taste in the air, but everything goes quiet. What do you guys do?
They kind of just shut down. I want to investigate the tinker and the workshop area and see what.
Yeah,
that
same.
is all about.
We have to, maybe there's some clue as to what they're doing in here and what they're doing to the people.
I'm going to recover the daughter's treasure while I remember.
Okay. I was wondering if anyone would remember that. So the daughter's treasure is in her bedroom. Her bedroom is actually in the southwest corner. Unlike some of the other bedrooms here, she actually has this large frieze of
Neptune's eyes.
Yep. And he's kind of there across the seas. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mosaic. But you can actually press the 2 eyes. And when you do, a box he's holding actually reveals itself to be a secret compartment which you can get to. And you pull out this wonderful gold box about so big that is just full of women's jewelry. And she told you this was her mother's jewelry. You could yoink it if you want. Yoink.
No, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna yoink it, but I'm gonna yoink it to take back to.
All right, no problem. Nicely done. Okay, so going on in the workshop area. So the workshop area looks very much like a cross between a blacksmith, an armor smith, a weaponsmith, and oddly, where someone would actually be sculpting statues. There's slabs of marble that have been piled up around. The first and main thing that you see is there is this 12-foot tall statue. I think it was 15-foot tall statue of a very magnanimous god, complete with Egyptian style headdress on him. But he's a humanoid god that is, you want to say, about half built. He's got both legs. A while ago, apparently he only had one, but he only has one arm. There's another arm off to one side. And I'm going to describe this in modern terms, but you know how the Statue of Liberty is kind of like this framework around which stone has actually been placed. This is very much the same way. The stone is marble, but on the interior of this metal framework, you can see cogs and apparatus and wire strands and blue crystals placed seemingly in a pattern throughout his entire being. There is a large piece of this blue-white crystal in his center torso. None of it is glowing right now. Previously, it was. It just looks like an inanimate statue, except for what Tiberius had seen originally, where you had seen it was beginning to move. There is a dead, gaunt body lying across the top of it with a huge freaking hole in his neck.
Oh, good move.
There doesn't seem to be anything else in here, though. There's a simple cot off to one side where you would say that Nectarius has definitely slept occasionally. And there's some evidence that he and his apprentices have eaten here. But there's nothing else other than this huge, large contraption.
Do they have any work notes or anything?
Yeah, you know what? There would be. There are all piles of scrolls here. There's no books per se, but there are the ancient version of a book where it is a long scroll that winds out. All of the actual drawings and writings are in a language you just do not understand at all. And in fact, some of the imagery that's on here, even though it's just diagrams, for some reason seem to make your skin crawl just looking at it, and you can't quite put your finger on why. You want to own this, though. You find yourself actually with your hand on it, and then it's like you come to.
I think we need to destroy this thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Actually, Fadia, can you give me a power roll, please?
Certainly. Okay, it is a 55 out of 75.
Yeah, so Doreena says we should destroy this, and you don't quite as quickly as you just did in real life say, oh, yes, absolutely. There is a pause where your brain goes, or maybe not. But then you go, yes, absolutely, we should. But you actually feel like someone just put a hand on your shoulder and went, or maybe not.
I'm so glad they're all dead.
You can hear, by the way, I mean, well, obviously we're out of rounds. You could all hear there's a crashing on the front door as someone is hitting it with a battering ram right now.
We should probably let Annie Katos and friends in. But first, let's throw all this stuff
so you
into
can
a
all
fire.
hear that they're swinging some kind of large furniture at the door, like trying to get through.
Also, in the meantime, Conri would like to go around and just see if the slaves, like, or the the servants or whoever they are, if they're okay. Like, I know they crumple to the ground, but like, what state are they in?
They all seem to be unconscious. They're not dead, but they all do still have rocks sticking out of them and wires intertwined.
Right. I mean, I guess those who fell down or unconscious, I try to put them in positions where they're more comfortable. I'll try to also locate the one who was pregnant.
Ah, yes. What was her name again? Andara. Yeah, you locate Andara. That's not a problem. She too has got the crystals, etc., sticking out of her, but she does still seem to be in a state of pregnancy.
That's good. Maybe it's a big monster. What the hell? Wait a minute. It could be anybody. Yeah.
All right. So we could do. I think we could do a wrap here, but I think there's probably a couple of things that we need to touch on. First, let's just do your rewards, and then we're going to talk about the situation with the slaves and the statue and decide what you're going to do with that. For starters, all of you can get, so there's D3. Actually, let me ask you first about the what you're going to do with the slaves, because this actually plays into it. How are you going to actually research the slaves? I'm assuming at some point either Nectarius bursts in or someone opens the door for him. But when Nectarius does actually, gain entry to the villa, he's actually there with 6 guys that you've not seen before.
Nectarius?
Oh, no,
Nectarius.
Nectarius, thank you. It's
It was Nectarius. So funny.
Well, I mean, I called him partially because given the situation with the slaves, he's probably the most knowledgeable as to what to do in this particular situation. Hopefully.
Right, so I guess, do you want to give him entrance to the villa or just say everything's under control and leave? He is there with 6 guys. They're all armed.
I mean, I think we should, but also I don't want to give him access to the notes.
And maybe leave his henchmen outside and he can come in by himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think take the note. I think burn the notes immediately. We can find a nice little metal bowl to just completely destroy them forever. And right now, in front of all of it.
Yeah, isn't there a fire going from?
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right
there's
now,
a couple of
I mean-
furnaces, and there's a large, the large.
Praise be the sun.
holes.
Let the cleansing flames.
No,
Come
that's true.
down.
There just might be some information here that could help the slaves, but we should definitely burn them.
We'll burn them.
Burn this road.
But that said, once that's done, I feel like this guy is probably our best bet for being able to do anything to help the slaves, except for just pulling stuff out of them, which I don't know will be good for them.
Right.
None of you have medicine, do you?
Nope.
Or
We're not really
surgical profession?
doctors.
We got first aid.
We're great at hurting people.
Pick that up.
My degrees are in killing.
Right.
Yeah, you would. So, it seems like they're alive, but yeah, I mean, any of them that actually even start to come to, they're immediately going to want these objects removing from them. Immediately. They don't seem to be in pain from it, but they're certainly in psychological pain, and they are not happy at all. But this is a job for a surgeon, without a doubt. And you could start trying to pull things out, but you're all pretty sure that it wouldn't end well.
Well, I'm certain there is a discreet surgeon here in town, and I kind of wink at Annie Katos. Oh.
Annie Katos would be able to arrange for that. Annie Katos is amazed at what he is seeing. He is amazed at what has been implanted in these guys. You keep them away from the workshop unless you tell me otherwise.
Right. That's like, keep them away.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I'd want to keep him away from the dog as well. I don't want to give him any ideas.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Maybe burn it as well.
So Annie Katos will, if you like, he can be the person that makes arrangements to have these slaves moved to a facility where maybe they could be worked on and helped.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. They'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna, how many, we've got 6 players here and we've got 12 slaves. So I'm gonna have each of you, I think, I'm not going to be so cruel to ask for luck rolls because I know you were really throwing down some luck, but I think we're going to have you give me 6 rolls, 1 each, and we're making it against my surgeon's skill. And let's see how this goes. Let's see how many survive this procedure. You will find this out days later. And I think, actually, just one person give me a D6 roll. Just any one of you, just give me a D6 roll.
I can do it.
Go on.
3.
All right. Pete is the one that's actually rolling for Andara, just so you all know.
Oh, no pressure.
All right. So let's start with Alberta. Give me a roll, Alberta. Percentile.
It's a really bad roll. 89.
89. Good job, Alberta. Okay. We got an 89. And Peter?
Okay. A percentile, I guess.
Yep.
76.
76. Pete. Dum, dum, dum.
58.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Tom.
I got my notes. I got an 89.
I know that.
There's only so much we can do, right?
There's a level of experimentation going here. It's like, Gabe.
Turnover rate of these kinds of places is really high anyway. It's not.
To be expected.
Oh, it's actually higher than expected.
80 what?
89.
Oh,
No,
no,
that's
oh,
3 89s.
389s.
Holy heck. Okay, Fadia.
He just asked a question. Do we take him to the surgeon or the butcher?
33.
33. All right.
Actually, the same guy.
I mean, this is like the ancient times. Probably
yeah, that's
is.
the truth. All right, so we actually got 3 successes, including for Andara herself. So let's see, put one. We got 3 very handsome failures right there. All right, so we got 6 slaves survive the procedure, including Andara. 3 do not. Probably on 6 do not. Some of those though, that just their minds snap just from what's going on. You know, you will find that out later, which means that we've got 1, 2, 3. So that's actually we're up to 12 here. You actually saved Andara, so that's up to 15. But 6 slaves died in surgery, so that puts us back down to 9. Andara was not one of them, though, so that's good. You did destroy the Clockwork Oracle, so up to 13, and you did destroy the Machine God, and you better thank your lucky stars that thing did not get on its feet, by the way, because that would have been no bueno. So I think we said 13, 23. Yeah, if the Machine God had got loose, that was just not going to be fun. But that's Cthulhu for you if the bad guy actually starts to get his way. So everyone, let's be fair on this, can give me 4d6, and you can add that to your sanity.
Whoa.
It was a big win.
So can you have over 100 with your sanity then?
No, you have a cap of 100 minus your Cthulhu Mythos. So 100 is your cap regardless. If you have Cthulhu Mythos, that is your cap. Or like, let's say you got 20 Cthulhu Mythos, your cap would be 80 sanity.
I rolled a.
I'm at my cap.
Nice. The more you learn about Cthulhu, the more insane you get.
76. I already had an 80. So.
Well, Peter, what is your what's your cap? Like, what's your Cthulhu Mythos?
I rolled 76. I already had an 80.
And what's your Cthulhu?
Oh, Cthulhu Mythos. Let's see. It's 10.
Okay, so your cap is 90.
90. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so big game. Big game.
Well,
good job. All right, so do you burn the scrolls?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Their powers combined, we probably should.
I'd like to try to cremate that dog as well.
And the
Actually,
bird.
that's entirely possible. Yeah, you can actually get rid of the dog. The crystals don't burn, but obviously the organic parts of the dog do, and any of the fine wires and machinery, they melt, no problem at all. But the crystals do not burn. Same same with the bird. If you do anything with the bird obviously has nothing organic, but it's plenty that's very fine and will melt. The crystals that line it inside will not.
What are we going to do with the big...
The statue?
Yeah.
The statue in the room, so to speak? Yeah.
Pull it down and break it into pieces.
Smash it up. Get the hammers out.
You guys can break this thing into pieces.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do that.
I might even suggest throwing it out into the ocean.
Scatter different parts.
In pieces.
In
Scatter
pieces, yes.
The four corners of the world.
Totally doable. So over the next couple of days, you break it up and you scatter its pieces across, I mean, it's current all over the ocean. No problem at all. You could probably even get a couple of fishermen to take pieces out and just turn it overboard if you were so inclined. Are you keeping anything? And if you are, you should put it down on your character sheet or at least make a note. Like, are you keeping any of the wires, the gadgets, or the crystals? Are you keeping the J?
I would like to keep some of the feathers from the J, if nothing else. I think that'd be
Okay. Make a note that you have, just some of the feathers from the Clockwork Oracle. That's not a problem at all.
I'm going to retrieve Xerxes' arm
fine. Oh,
and keep components of it.
Okay. Do you want to reduce it down to just the hand, or just keep the whole arm?
Well, he's got like wires going up the entire arm.
Yes, he does.
So I kind of want to keep the entire arm for study purposes.
Make a note.
Well, I'm
In
gonna keep
between
Chris-
sessions, we can resume your autopsy of his arm. Yes, Gabe.
I want to keep, I don't know if there's some part, and probably this is because of 7 days. I don't know if there's some part of the machine god that I can keep as like a brawling weapon that Dulius can use. Like just a rock fist that I can use as brass knuckles or something like that. Just as a trophy that I can punch people.
Yes, I'll totally permit it. We'll be able to sort of couple something together. Yes. In fact, honestly, yes. The answer is yes. And if you have an interest in his fist is obviously larger than yours. So maybe it's even the type of thing where, and he is, it's empty, where maybe the type of thing where you could even get your hand in there.
Can Doreena pull her bolts out of Andre?
Yes, no problem. The bolts are fine. He's
Okay.
not. Anything else that you guys would like to keep?
Can I ask, so, Fadia, do you know anything about these crystals that produce electricity?
I don't know. That's a great question. Would it be a Cthulhu mythos or a occult check?
Cthulhu mythos, actually, on this stuff.
Well, I will try. Ooh, wow. Okay. I made it by 1 point.
Oh, you actually make it.
There's a reason my
Okay.
sanity is on the lower side.
So there was a story. So what was your question? I mean, what I don't want to just hit you with random facts. So was there a particular question about the crystals?
Well, I was curious, could we potentially use those crystals to make electricity, like, and combine it with a weapon? You know, could we use?
Can we harness the magical properties of crystals?
Right. The answer, Ola, is yes, but not just holding one. They're typically combined with other techniques and spells. But yes, they are a focal point, a magic foci that could absolutely be used that way. In fact, there is rumor of races that use weaponry that shoot electricity and the likes. And these crystals form a big part of that. But you would have to craft the rest of the weapon and have obviously the knowledge to do so. But yes.
And well, the answer that Fadia will give is yes, but are you willing to pay that price?
Yeah.
What's the price?
Yeah, I'm willing to.
She leaves it cryptic.
Some crystals.
Okay.
Very helpful, but
But imagine if my dagger could also produce electricity. I mean, that'd be amazing. You know.
I just looked at Gabe's equipment list. Yes. All right, so I think there are some fiscal rewards that you guys and girls need as well for actually helping out the two sons and the daughter. So let's just go through this because you did help the family. And so now Galerius is going to take over as the helm of the Quintus family or the Latinius family.
What happened to the old man? Is he still alive?
Oh, you
Yeah.
actually? Oh, actually. Oh,
He was still alive.
Wait a minute.
but he's like
Doreena,
Yes,
look
he's
at
still
the-
he's in the
alive.
stables.
Protected by donkeys, no less.
Yeah.
Right.
So I believe. God, I forgot about this dude. Conri and Tiberius, you were originally approached. Remember that there would be a bonus if Papa did not make it. So you all remember that you do now have Quintus Dexius in the stables. Would you like to do anything with him?
I mean, he's rightfully the head of the household. I know that he was under the spell of this guy, but
Maybe he's better now.
right, he may be better.
What's his condition? Can he talk?
But also accidents happen. He might choke on his own spit or something.
Maybe I tied the mummy thing too tight and he just couldn't breathe.
Or maybe we can negotiate. Find out who can give us the best reward.
So Dulius has no desire to execute this guy, but I also don't know if I know that was even a request that was made.
You don't. You don't.
Yeah,
Not
so-
yet. They haven't told anyone. So when you do go back to the stables, he is still lying there, of course. It looks like almost the fever is completely broken on him, and his eyes are open, and he looks very scared when you come in, particularly because two of you are extremely big gentlemen.
let's find out what happened from his perspective.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his story?
So if you kind of like ungag him a little bit, you know, and you get past the initial, I have nothing to give you. Please let me go. No, I have some coin. I have some coin. Once you get past that, and he clearly feels that you're just here to like, you know, rob the house or blind. So he was approached by Nectarius as being the only tinker he would ever want to actually have around. And when he saw some of the gadgets that Nectarius created, he was certainly intrigued. But when the actual J was made, the Clockwork J, he was just in love. He describes himself as, I was enraptured by this thing. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen since my late wife. And I needed for nothing else. And each morning when I would awake, it would sing to me this beautiful, beautiful lullaby. And Nectarius would translate it for me. And I found myself completely hooked on every word that he would say.
What kind
And
of
I
things
needed
would he
for nothing
answer?
else. What was that?
What were some of the messages from the J?
Not only the family fortune and the fortune of everything that was to come for us, but that my ancestors would be elevated into the platform of the gods themselves, and that for me and my children, there would be greatness and power, and that there would be a queen that would come in the future, and that she would have us at her right-hand side, and we would be elevated up to the imperial court itself.
Are you aware that you kicked your family out of your estate?
No, I did not.
You did. And I'll show him the ring of Gallius, or his son. He gave
Did
me
you kill him?
I
He's
did not.
my-
But your family sent us here.
I have no recollection of this at all.
What's the last thing you remembered before we tie you up and brought you up to this barn?
I don't even know if he remembers that.
Well, maybe you should say that.
The last vivid thing I remember is Nectarius telling me about the Alabaster Queen who would eventually rule over the Roman Empire, and how the family of Vatinius would be there at her right-hand side.
What's the last date you remember?
Oh, he gives you a date. Actually, we don't even have the date in the year that we were at. He gives you a date, and it's a solid 10 days ago.
Okay.
Can we checking out the body of Nectarius? Well, I mean, I wouldn't know this. I wouldn't know this as a character. Well, what do you find about the vision? Transform.
Yeah.
Is there anything odd about his person? I don't know. Like these other guys had gems and stuff in them. Is there anything unhuman-like about him?
No, other than his oddly pale skin. I mean, especially, I mean, he looks Egyptian, but almost like an albino Egyptian.
Okay. There's no webbing in between his hands and feet. Or...
No, nothing like that.
No scales under.
No scales.
Okay. I mean, it seems like this guy just got bewitched. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is some
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad man.
dark satyr.
It does seem to be that's exactly what happened to him.
Yeah.
He seems very disorientated.
Right.
He literally has no idea who you guys are and what happened, and it takes a long time to sort of get him up to speed. But like most of what has happened, like almost everything that has happened over the last 10 days, if he remembers any of it, it's like a dreamlike recollection, snatches at most. He's extremely sad that he's lost half of his slaves. Do you reintroduce him to his family?
Yes.
I mean, I'm inclined to let him live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill him in cold blood.
Right. I mean, I know what his son wants, but I'm not gonna tell his father about the son's plan. I think I might keep the ring that the son gave me, just because, you know.
Why not? Could come in useful.
Right.
It's probably the type of thing you should be making a note of, because it could come in useful in the future.
You got
Who
all
knows?
through the fight, if
Right.
he asks.
Right.
Although a foreigner with a signet ring of a prominent noble house may be a little bit odd.
Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, I could always, in a different circumstance, I could say, you know, oh, I was hired by this family to go do something.
But also good for seals and things like that, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying we need to be forging any documents, but it'll be.
In the future, who knows what could happen. So Galerius, so when the children do come back, and obviously they're young adults, Galerius is, oh, Papa, you're alive. It is so good to see you. And Latina and Kaiso run to him, though. They do run to him. They hug him in an extremely genuine manner. And then Kaiso is looking for Andara. Eventually, you will introduce him to Andara and the fact that she is safe, and he is so freaking appreciative. So for Latina, she is so grateful that you got her mother's jewelry back. You can get 800 sesterces for that.
Each? Or
And that's to be split between a party, but just make a note that you got 800 sesterces available to you. Now you've got one social status or one status because you actually helped her. That's going to be a bump up. Oh, in fact, you got 1300 sesterces because Dexius will give you a bonus too from his savings that he was actually saving for his wedding. So you were going to get originally 3% to your status, but that gets bumped up an extra percent because you actually helped Latina. So everyone gets 4% to add to, I forget what status it's called, but it's status. Yeah, it's status. It's called outright status. Status is your influence. It also carries a certain amount of, it's almost the equivalent of wealth to it. It's like this, your sundry sort of money that you could just have available to you. But it's your, if you needed to reach out to someone, you know. So everyone gets plus 4% for everything that you did here today, and 1300 sesterces to just have it as available cash to the party.
Right.
And that, I think, is that. The Clockwork Oracle is dead. You figured out that the family was being, or certainly the father, Quintus, was being ensorcelled by this very strange
Change, but that's good.
tinker who was clearly a cultist to the Clockwork God. And he was making a Clockwork God of his own. And he managed to put pay to them and rescue the entire freaking family. Galerius is a little upset that he's going to have to wait a few more decades before he takes over the family reigns. But overall, a job well done.
I'm glad that we could restore the family.
We did good. We did really well.
Thank you.
Restored the family, and yep, you stopped everything. Without actually any innocents dying. Yes, some of the slaves were lost, but it could have been considerably worse. And you guys didn't go rampaging through the slaves, hacking them apart. So you actually approached the whole thing in a very moral way.
I'm very proud of you, all of you. And I will religiously counsel Kaiso that perhaps that there are struggles that may be put upon any relationship, but the physical scar she bears pale in comparison to the mental scars of what she had to endure while you were away. So support her in her time of need.
He is a man besotted and very much in love, and is absolutely going to do that. The slaves that do survive do get the crystals removed and the wires removed. Yes, there are some scars. And yes, there are some parts inside them that can't be removed. They tried 6 times before realizing it wasn't going to work. There will be some scarring. There will be some mental scarring. But
Does any Kados know how to make weapons from the crystals?
no. Are you showing him some crystals?
Well, he would have seen them because of the slave.
We're just finding
Oh,
out.
because of the slave. He would have seen them on the slaves. That's correct. Absolutely, he would have. But no, he doesn't. And actually, he's not as sharp as Fadia. Fadia's like, oh, yes, I know what these are. He doesn't even seem to know what they are. The crystals that are removed from the slaves are actually put to one side, and they are returned to you for decision on what to do with them. And I'm just going to assume that the party's just sitting on a sack of crystals at the moment, you know. You can make a decision what you want to do.
Well, you should take some crystals.
Anything we don't want, we just destroy. Bring them up.
I mean, I feel like these crystals need to go in like a volcano to be properly destroyed. It's
Yeah.
gonna take a
That
little bit
type of
more
thing.
work than now.
Yeah, they don't burn. You can even put them inside a forge and they do not burn or react to it at all. You can hit them with a hammer and axe and they don't seem to even chip.
Hey, that sounds like good for armor.
Now, yeah, actually. Now here's a question. What if I use my dagger to try to see if was that effective when it's
Your dagger actually does get, does impact it. Yes, your dagger can actually scratch them.
okay? Keep that in mind.
Okay, so that I think is the end of the Clockwork Oracle.
Thank you, Alyssa.